Welcome back to my channel. My regular viewers are probably wondering what the heck the title of this video has to do with my usual topics. You know, where I usually cover trolls and gossips or talk about the war between men and women. Well, there is some connection. I'll still point out assumptions, as well as the problem of name-calling or ridicule and a lack of basic decency towards others. But yes, it will also be quite different, and there will be some math towards the end. I've always been a serious sports fan, but being a fan doesn't blind me to the negatives I see. One issue I have is the saying that sports builds character. Sure, it absolutely can, but it just isn't that simplistic. It depends on the coach. Some athletes are great people, while others can be real prima donnas, thinking they are more important than anyone else to the point they'll put down others for no reason at all, even people who are probably their biggest supporters. For example, I watched a high school band entering a stadium through a small gate. The team quarterback also started to come through. Instead of just saying, "Excuse me" or something, he barged through saying, "Get that damn band out of my way." I put the blame for such behavior on the coaches. You see, I've seen coaches who are very big on having their players respect others. You know, that character thing. And you know what the main result is? They and their teams get even more support. Yet many coaches don't seem to care about character. I suspect that many football players and coaches, even many fans who see this video, will think it is no big deal and may even think it is funny. If you do have that view, don't claim sports builds character. It would be more accurate to say sports reveals character, when coaches don't also teach players to be good human beings. No matter what you achieve in sports, it isn't long before the season no longer really matters much to future reality, and the kind of person you become lasts pretty much the rest of your life. Fortunately, there are coaches who are great at developing character. Just wish there were more. And for the most part, it is ridiculously easy to achieve. When I go to pep rallies at my college, the college president would speak and he'd praise the team and also thank the cheerleaders, faculty, fraternities, and sororities for supporting the team, but not a word about the band, who, along with the cheerleaders, do the most to support the team, including during that very pep rally. But the moment the president sat back down, the head coach went to the microphone and made a big deal about the band. It took no special effort and took less than a minute, but it was greatly appreciated by the band. It extended to his team. When it looked like the team was about to lose because of a last-minute drive by the other team, the band deliberately played as loud as they could when the ball was right in front of them at the 20-yard line. This forced their quarterback to complain to the refs that it was too loud, so the game was stopped while the band got a warning. But the band knew there was no penalty unless they did it a second time. As a result, the momentum was broken and we won, and the team applauded the band. You see, no one lost anything by the coach and team supporting the band in such ways, but everyone benefited. The band felt appreciated, something everyone wants, and the coach and team got even more support than usual. I saw a similar episode at a local high school football game many years later. After a hard-fought win, the team went back to the field house, but one freshman player ran back out to where the band was sitting and yelled, "Thank you, band," then ran back. The band loved it, and as a result, at every game until that kid graduated, he had his own personal cheering section. Again, cost him nothing, but everyone benefited. Yet I've talked to plenty of coaches about the relationship between the team and the groups that support them, only to have most of the coaches say they don't have time to thank them. Really? At a pep rally where, you know, a coach is making a speech anyway, he can't specifically thank the band for their support? Or maybe go a bit further and just stop by a band class or practice and say thanks? I'm not talking about every day or every week or every month. I'm talking about once a year. Yet they still say they don't have time. I don't believe that excuse for a moment, but their self-righteous attitude carries over to the team. When I decide what teams I support, it is based on things I hear about their coaches and players and how they behave as human beings. One class act was a former coach of the De La Salle High School football team from California. Under their coach, they had a 151-game winning streak, far longer than any other team has ever achieved. But he emphasized personal development and downplayed winning games. Now, let me move on to the statements of some sports analysts, which can be rather inconsistent. I mean, a key football play is made, and if unsuccessful, they may declare how foolish it was in that situation. But if it is successful in a similar situation, it's called a gutsy play. Hindsight is very convenient. Take, for example, a play in the Ohio State-Notre Dame championship game. I didn't actually see it, but from what the analyst said, apparently it had Notre Dame trying a fake punt on 4th down and 2 yards to go. Now, that's pretty risky, but doing it from the Notre Dame 33-yard line is kind of crazy in my opinion. After all, if it fails, you almost guarantee the other team will at least get a field goal with little effort. Sure, Notre Dame was behind 28-7, but there's still around 26 minutes to go. Instead, Ohio State got the field goal to go up 31-7. It is my opinion that, in fact, that was a foolish call, even though it almost worked. I'd feel the same if it did work. But if the pass hadn't been dropped, I bet most people would praise it as a gutsy call. But I'm going to defend the Notre Dame coach on a later decision he made, which most others were highly critical of. Here's the situation. Notre Dame is behind by 16 points, which means they need 2 touchdowns and both 2-point conversions just to tie. They still have to win in overtime. There's about 10 minutes left, but the ball is just 9 yards away from a touchdown. Unfortunately, it is also 4th down. Let's listen to the criticism.
So when you're sitting there and you're down 16, and you've got a shot to maybe get it in the end zone, why do you kick a field goal?
Because you asked your stat dork that you hired what the change in the percentages was, and he told you it wasn't that big of a deal, and you didn't really listen to the context of it. You just listened to the numbers.
Of course, he doesn't actually know what was said, so he's relying on assumptions. But why make the stat dork remark? That's the kind of statement I expect from someone who thinks athletes are special just because they are athletes. But the guy is going to be overly critical of the coach too.
It was a very dumb decision. Just stupid. Like, there's under 10 minutes left. You're down 16. The odds of you scoring 2 touchdowns and getting 2 extra point or 2-point conversions to tie this game are extremely low. I understand that. Kicking the field goal doesn't change that. You are still screwed for the most part, because even if you kick the field goal and you're down 13, you still need 2 touchdowns. And again, we're under 10 minutes. There's no guarantee you're going to get the ball 2 more times. And guess what? You really didn't. You got the ball the second time after they went up 11 when the game was over. So you don't really improve your odds of winning with the field goal. Whereas if you get the touchdown and you get the 2-point conversion, your odds still aren't great, but they're much better than they are when you're down 13. It's just a simple decision. I thought that was horribly stupid.
But note the key words, if you get the touchdown and get that 2-point conversion. But he's ignoring the huge difficulty of doing that from the 9-yard line, let alone the roughly only 50% chance of getting the 2-point conversion. The chance of making a field goal when you're on the 9-yard line is probably 90 to 95% or so. So any coach is going to be thinking about what the chances are to score 2 more touchdowns in 10 minutes. Believing the field goal would almost always be successful. 2 touchdowns would be difficult, but if you do it, you can outright win the game without any need for any 2-point conversions. But what are the odds of scoring a touchdown instead in one play from the 9-yard line? Well, we can look at the whole game for Notre Dame and we'll see that they gained 9 or more yards less than 20% of the time. In fact, Notre Dame never got more than 5 yards on any play inside the red zone. It's just harder. The defense has less area to defend. And, as it turns out, Ohio State was ranked number 1 in red zone defense. So, logically, the chance of a touchdown is certainly much less than 20%. Remember, Notre Dame had first down on Ohio State's 8-yard line, and 3 plays later had lost a yard. Fail, and you still need 2 touchdowns and both 2-point conversions just to go to overtime. This guy continues the excessive criticism.
I felt like it was kind of like a give up. Like momentum isn't real. You had all the momentum.
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing.
You had all the confidence.
And that
you had everything going in your way, and sending out your kicker. I almost said the wrong word. Forget the result of the kick. You told your team, I'm scared. I'm too scared to do this right now. Like, you had everything going your way, and then you were like, no, I don't want to risk it. I'm going to kick the field goal. It was awful.
I don't see that at all. I mean, how can he be scared when his decision also meant he had to feel there was a chance to get 2 more touchdowns? Let's look at the statistical probabilities the podcasters give.
I plugged it into the win probability calculator here for 4th down, and 3% chance to win the game by going for the field goal, 2% if you go for it.
He's properly describing the chances to win based on the situation before that 4th down play, which makes sense since that's the moment the decision has to be made. On that basis, it seems the coach made the best decision since a 3% chance is better than 2%. But the other guy screws up.
Yeah, it's 3% if you make the field goal, 7% if you score the touchdown.
But that's absurd. He's using probabilities assuming the 4th down play worked, whether a field goal or touchdown. Since it's still 3% after the field goal, it confirms there had to be at least a 90% chance of success for that. But by assuming the touchdown and conversion was made, it raises the chance to win from 2% to 7%. But there is no more than a 10% chance of achieving both, more likely 5% or less. But by assuming the touchdown and conversion would be made, he declares the coach made the wrong decision. I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. The decision is made before you know what the results are, which brings up his erroneous conclusions.
Mathematically, situationally, confidence-wise, you did nothing to help your team with that decision. Absolutely nothing.
Except it seems the math supports the coach based on the moment the decision had to be made. And the confidence issue depends on how the coach presents it to the team. Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.